Hello, all our fellow listeners. Welcome back to Sandwich, the podcast where we give you helpful reviews about movies you'll never watch, but hopefully might. This week we are doing I Am Mother, a nice ending to our AI genre of the month. And it all starts with the aftermath of a war between humans and androids, which has left humans to be nearly extinct. Or are they? After a droid, referred to as Mother, raises a human child, referred to as Daughter, to give humanity another chance. But everything changes when Daughter gives sanctuary to another human. Bah, 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 bah.
There's not a lot to this movie.
No, it was a very small cast. Two
There were
people played
two
Mother.
people.
Well, no, there was three people. There was Mother.
There were
Three people.
four people. There were
three people.
Literal people.
No, four, I guess you're right. There was Mother, there was Daughter, there was Woman, and there was Baby. Because
Although there
her
were
brother.
multiple baby.
Well, yeah, but I'm meaning like her brother.
There was not a big cast listing to this movie.
No, and two people played Mother. One was the voice and one was the movement. Took me like 20 minutes to understand that. I was like, what?
That there was a person in a suit.
Well, no, when I was looking at the cast, it was like two people were Mother, and I was like, how was a guy Mother? And his name is Luke Hawker, and I was like, how? And then I like looked into it, and he's like, oh, he's a movement specialist. Like, he's really good at doing movements for cyborg or just like anything, whatnot. And I was like, that makes sense. Total sense. But yeah, no, this was a nice rounded movie. It's directed by Grant Spator. Might have said that wrong. And this is a pretty new director. He's also an Australian writer. I love my Australian movies, really do.
Apparently so does Netflix.
Yes. Yeah, actually, you're right, because Cargo. But this was his directorial debut. This is his first movie. Well, he had something in 2008, but they labeled this movie as his, like, first... Well, it's probably the one that got popular. But he's also going to be directing a movie that's going to come out in a couple years, and it's the Godzilla vs. Kong Supernova. Yeah. Which there are a lot of those movies, and I haven't watched a single Godzilla x Kong. I haven't even watched the last, like, 5 Godzilla movies.
I heard that Godzilla 1 was good. Like, I think that's literally what it's called.
Yeah, I think you're right. And what's the one where there's, like, 7 of the monsters in it?
King of Beasts.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
I need to watch all those movies. Because
Yeah.
they're so good. They're so funny.
I need to give them a chance. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I'm not in the right mind space. Like, I'm not doing terrible. Don't think I'm doing terrible. It's like, I feel like to appreciate a film, I need to get in the game, you know? But boy, do I like Kong movies, though.
Then you're fine. It's just another giant monster.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Have you seen The Iron Giant?
I love The Iron Giant.
Okay, then you'll be fine with Godzilla.
Okay. Did you notice any actors from this one?
No.
None of the 4 actors? How could you? Because if the listeners remember, Rose Byrne's in this movie as well as she was in Jexi. She also is the voice of the mother, just like she was voice of Jexi. I'm not really going to go into her because we did in Jexi. And then I had to look up her name, but I looked at her face, I'm like, I know who you are. And it's the person who played Woman, Hilary Swank. May have said the last name wrong, sorry. But she's in one of my classic, it's not really classic. This probably dates me, but it's not that classic. But I really liked $1 Million Baby. Whoa, I can't believe you haven't even seen that. That's a good movie. And then P.S. I Love You, she's in that one too. That's one of my favorites. Great gal. I think she was really perfect for this movie. Her face has that nice rugged look. I'm not saying she looks... Like, I'm never saying they look rugged. I'm just saying, like, her acting style and to look, like, confused and scared is perfect, you know? With a small cast like this and delicate plot points, you really don't want someone who just can't make the right facial expressions or reactions. It would make it even more bland. And yeah, this movie could be labeled bland. Yes, a lot did not happen. But yeah, I can't believe you couldn't recognize the baby. I'm kidding. When I was trying to look at the cast though, it was I felt like I was being gaslit or something because the daughter, um, I saw her, her face and tried to look up things that I knew and I didn't, and then it said toddler one, toddler two, so like probably the younger versions of the daughter, but they were both the same picture and they just look like a younger picture of the person who played daughter. So then I'm like, what? So then I tried to click on them because this movie came out in 2019. So like they have to be 6 years older than they were. They're probably, well, toddler one has to be at least 6 and toddler two's got at least 12. You'd think they might have acted at something or they have information about like why they're there because the toddler one, toddler two, the same last name, different first names. Nothing in relation to the person who played daughter. No relation to Hillary. I'm like, where did these kids come from? Like, why is the picture a younger version of what it appears to be the person who plays the daughter? Which I think her name's like Clara or something like that. I was going for a loop, man. It was really hard. Really hard.
Well, I mean, this was Daughter's, the girl who played Daughter's first movie, so there wasn't really very much else to go on with her.
Yeah, no.
In terms of acting, that is.
I know, but like, it's 6 years from then. You'd think there'd be something.
I mean, unless she did, it was like a one and done kind of scenario.
Yeah. It just creeped me out when it was like the same picture, two different last names, and the picture's not even of them two unless if they're the person's younger siblings. Like I really don't know. It was odd, just odd. But yeah, did you know in the conspiracy of this movie, I dove into some forums about this movie to kind of go into deep discussions because I love that because there's a bunch of unknown in this movie. Not a whole lot, not as much as I explained with last week's Blade Runner. I think this one does it in a nice way. But there's interpretation that in the end, when we see Mother talking to the woman, there's a line Mother says that where she goes, "It's amazing that you were kept alive this long, as if someone had a greater purpose for you, but now not anymore." And she says it even though she is an AI robot. Or the only one conscious, which was really awesome when I found that out towards the end of the movie. I was like, whoa, she is all the robots, which I guess is the idea they're meaning, but usually when you see AI films, it's like multiple quote-unquote AI consciousness, but she is the only one controlling all these vessels. But she kind of says it in a condescending tone. So I guess she's also gaining emotional intelligence if you think about it. But there is speculation that the woman is the mother's first experiment or something. Because, she's like, do you remember your mother? And yeah, the woman talks about how she was an orphan and given, like, found by another family. But maybe, like, because this mother person, or AI, has obviously a god complex. She made it where they destroyed all of humanity and all of the imperfect humans and then started to build anew. That's why we saw those crops. That's why we see her having 63,000 embryos that she's saving and trying to teach herself, that she says. She's learning how to be a mother. But to teach these newborns, these humans, to be proper humans, that they're not terrible. Like they meet all these quote-unquote criterion, just like a robot or a piece of machinery would go through. They would go through beta testing, and they would go through diagnostics testing to make sure that they're quote-unquote up to par. But yeah, they say that the woman was the first experiment. See if they're raised by other humans, how well they'd be put up or whatnot. And then versus her third attempt, because I'm thinking that the woman was like, I think it was APX, because the daughter is APX3. I'm thinking the woman, because APX 1 and 2 are missing, I think the woman is APX 1. And then when the daughter broke into the files to see, like, oh, aborted, like, these children, that was APX2, but she never looked at APX1. So I was like, whoa. I figured it out. But I thought that was, like, an interesting thing to dive into of this mother character so lonely, kind of, she's trying to, like, rebuild everything, and she's like, oh, yeah, I don't really care, like, I'm in all these vessels, if you harm me or whatever, like, you can shoot me if it makes you more comfortable, and, like, I don't know, I liked that concept.
You like the concept that the AI didn't care because it is everywhere?
Kind of, yeah, like, it's not, you can't destroy it, like, if there was another movie or something, because obviously she had the daughter shoot her CPU in that vessel, and then she's taking over that facility to raise the embryos. You would be there would never, like, honestly, there would be never, maybe they would, where they would do another one where the daughter has all these kids and they're gonna, like, take over the main thing. But it kind of gives you that exploration of thought. Like, in order to take down Mother, you would have to go to the mainframe of wherever this computer's, the motherboard of it all, because she's just using these vessels. She's in her programs in all of them. You can't just destroy her from one. So I thought that was, like, an awesome concept. The fact that the mother still had compassion, in a way. I don't know. It's compassion, because she's not, I don't know. She's, like, obviously she's not killing because of hurt. Like, she wanted to kill the woman because it was going to ruin her experiment, but she didn't want to kill the daughter when she was revolting. Because I wonder if that's what she wanted her to do. I don't know. I'm, like, really...
That was like a roller coaster of conspiracy on how this movie would have gone had something else happened.
No, all that.
You're just
happened.
Like, where? I wonder what it's like if blah 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 blah.
Sorry,
I was just like, cool. Sweet tangent, man.
Well, yeah.
AI is weird though. Like, in this movie, at least, I thought it was neat that the idea that, like, the way I saw it is that the world was broken, and the computers that used to be taking care of humans found flaws in the humans and decided to just start over. So they initiated their own purge because it was what the AI considered to be a necessary, quote-unquote, evil, because obviously it can't feel, it doesn't care.
Right.
So, necessary evil to accomplish a greater goal of creating humanity perfectly.
Yeah.
Which, of course, doesn't happen, but
No.
it's interesting to think of about that ideological situation, considering that the daughter was, quote-unquote, programmed, but also had human emotions as well and didn't really 100% know what to do with them.
Yeah. Like, measuring her by each year with exams and whatnot, to, like, make sure she's responding in the way that she should. I thought it was really cool, though, when they were doing the classroom stuff and, like, trying to teach, like, morals and stuff like that of humanity, like the doctor scenario.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Being selfless rather than selfish.
Yeah. And it had good questions that, like, what would be best and blah, 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 blah. Like, what should you be looking at instead of yada, yada, yada. So I thought that was pretty cool, but, man.
She kind of trained her to be a doctor, so I was wondering if maybe, like, others would be trained into different job styles.
I bet you're right, yeah. I bet you're right. I also know she was really good at the robotic stuff, which I guess is just doctors for machines. But, engineers, sorry.
I mean, and she also lived around a machine her entire life, so.
Yeah, true. Did you notice the shape of the mother, though?
Like an.
I swear I'm going somewhere with this.
Like, are you saying, like, hourglass figure or pear or?
No, like.
Oh.
I guess. I mean, like, this film is highly loved by a lot of people for the fact that it's, like, one of the first good AI movies that doesn't sexualize the AI robot, you know? Like, some of the ones we've seen, except for, I guess, Jexy doesn't have a body. But, like, if you see Ghost in the Shell or Ex Machina or any other one that has like an AI or Blade Runner, even like all, like these replicants or the AIs or whatnot, they all have like that body shape for because they're trying to mimic humanity and whatnot, and they mimic it through the body shape. But what's really nice about this one is it kind of like questions like, well, what is humanity? Is it the shape of the body, or is it just like is it something else? There was this article that I found called Mother Knows Best. I Am Mother and Searching for Non-Sexualized AI, and this was written by Rachel Featherston. It's a really good article, but the main part it highlighted on was that Mother's humanity isn't drawn from her physical appearance, but from the behavior, the empathy, and maternal instincts that she has. I think that's really great, like a great womanhood, girlhood, and motherhood kind of thing going on in this movie. And no robot titties in this one, which is good, I guess. Well, yeah, it's good. Like humanity's not the body.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that she looks the way that she looks with the initial purpose of the robots in mind.
Mm-hmm.
They were just supposed to help humanity, not
Right.
pleasure them. So,
arguably, too, like in certain AI films, the helping, the pleasuring is quote unquote the helping too. There's a movie called, I never knew how it's pronounced, but I think it's called You Me, and they talk about like these AI robots are there to help, but then they had a new line of robots that were for more of those promiscuous activities, and it was a help. But a lot of people were like, whoa, like in the movie were like, I don't know if that's help or service or yada yada yada. But yeah, like any other AI film that I kind of thought about that had just like a feminine figure, literally had a figure. So I thought it was really cool. And I couldn't help but to just stare at the robot too, because I wanted to know what each part. Because no, I mean, listen, wait.
She wasn't sexual, but wow.
Well, look at that CPU. No, because I wondered if like things would pop out of her panels or something, or like her CPU. Okay. No, she's non-sexualized. I'm not attracted to robots. Oh my god. But like her
I guess she'd like stick out her tongue or something.
no, like they'll have like tools or something, or not so much weaponry, but like when you could see what song was playing, or when her heaters would come out. I thought that was really cool to keep the baby warm.
I think those were just heating pads. I don't think that was part of the robot.
No, that was part of her because she had it on her hand too, and she touched the baby in the very, very end. But there
yeah, but I think that was part of not part of the robot.
It wasn't part of the robot.
It was like part of a suit or something.
On the robot.
Because she didn't have like the arm thing on her the whole time.
What arm thing?
Or maybe she did. I don't know. It was really hard for me to pay attention. I wasn't looking at the robot that in depthly.
I was, man.
I was just like, okay, cool, it's hot.
Yeah, she is now. But I thought that was really cool. She could control what panels, had the music. She had like a thingy on her back that looked like a tank, and it was so shiny, and it had like silver and purples and green hues. I was like, I want to look at that, but I couldn't because it was barely you could see her back. But yeah, it was really nice to see just parts of her unsexualized. I have to clarify every time, Jesus. But yeah, did you have any favorite parts?
Yeah, there were a couple. I really had a hard time watching this movie, I think. Just because there were two people in the movie and the mother. And I was trying to figure out what was going on for like half the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I like even though mother wasn't too keen on woman being in their space, she was still willing to help because of the connection that daughter was like looking for.
Yeah, I was
She's like,
pretty
you can just
worried.
bleed out on your floor. I don't care.
Yeah,
But daughter said that she wants to help you, so.
right. I thought that was so nice. I was very skeptical. I'm like, man, is she gonna? Because I was starting to believe the woman. I'm like, man, is there something else in that needle, or man, is she? Because she locked the daughter out of the out of the
Infirmary?
was it infirmary? Okay. So I thought she's gonna kill her right there.
No, I thought she was going to give her the penicillin. I don't see a reason why an AI would try to create trust with the daughter and then just be like, oh yeah, by the way, this human you want to keep alive, I'm just going to kill.
Well, I was thinking about what she did to the rat.
Yeah, but that's different. See, the thing about the rat was that she was trying to lie and to a point it was a lie because I'm sure that mother can't breathe
Right.
oxygen.
Right.
So to her, the world could still be contaminated. And that was like what her point was with destroying the rat. Was that contaminants could jeopardize daughter,
Yeah.
so therefore rat can't live.
Yeah.
But
So wouldn't the woman have contaminants though?
not necessarily,
Yeah.
because if she did, then she would die probably faster because she'd be contaminated and have a bullet hole in her.
Yeah. Man, though, I thought it. I was believing it. And yeah, I felt like a tennis ball too. Well, I guess you didn't say you felt like a tennis ball, but I felt like a tennis ball because I couldn't figure out who was lying, and then I was believing mother. Cause I'm
Well, I
like,
mean,
"Man."
everybody was lying.
Yeah, yeah.
Except for daughter. Daughter was the only one who wasn't lying.
She was lying to herself about what she wanted. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I like the opening scene with the statistics to see like the status of how many like people or embryos, and then how many people are habitants, and then how many days since the extinction. And this was literally the day after that, because that's what it said, which I was really confused by that, because it said number of days after extinction protocol or something like that, and it said 1. So I thought that, now that I think about it, I think that's really weird with the whole woman, because obviously she's not 1. And then did she give, if the woman is quote unquote her first experiment, obviously she probably gave the child away before the extinction so that she could be raped. I don't know. I really don't know. But I liked seeing those statistics in the very, very opening scene, and then you saw it again when daughter was older, like when she wasn't so little, and then it went dark, and then it had her in the bed, like quote unquote fully grown to where she is now, which is probably around like, she seems 16ish to me.
She was 18.
Oh, was she?
Mm-hmm.
Did it say 18th birthday?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Alright. That's fine. Feel better now. The actress just looks really young.
Yeah, that was a pretty neat thing.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely added to the overall scope of the story.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it showed that they were able to grow humans in one day. Like,
yeah,
turn them into a
24
baby.
hours. That was literally my next favorite part, was that, like, the accelerator. Okay, no, actually, real quick. No, not real quick. This is the same thing. When, daughter was born, and, like, I don't know, it had an, like, alerting sound for mother, and I thought the 23-hour blah 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 59 minutes blah blah countdown was something different at first, because I thought like the mother barely sat down and then the baby was born. But also when the baby was like full grown in that accelerated birth circle, that I didn't understand that that it was in a placenta bubble, and then when it fully expanded, I thought the baby exploded in that circular thing at first. I was like, oh my goodness, she just cooked that baby and it exploded. And then she undid it, I was like, oh thank God. That it just exploded. But that was just the membrane of the placenta. I was like, oh. Threw me for a
that
loop.
goo-looking stuff.
Yeah. Little bubbles therein. But that was funny. Haha. What's another part you liked?
I thought it was neat that mother was like, you can choose who's next.
Yeah.
Pick your brother.
Right.
And of the moments where she was being raised, I was like, it's kind of odd that she's being raised by a robot. I mean,
Yeah.
just because a robot and a mom can't do anything, like, they're not really the same. And I was like, you can't really breastfeed a baby with a robot. Like, that was my
Especially
that was
on
where my thinking
formula.
went. Yeah, but I didn't think about that because
Yeah, I
I'm a
know.
guy. I wouldn't think about that.
That's
type of
fair, yeah. That's what the metal that pumped out, it just went boo. No.
Whoa. Okay.
Non-sexualized.
Getting back to that, I really liked the scene. Like, even though I didn't write it down because I just wasn't really. I was trying really, really hard to pay attention to this movie and to watch it all the way through without passing out. But I really enjoyed when that mother taught daughter how to do origami.
Yeah, that was.
I thought that was super neat because she kind of had a collection of origami creatures around her bed.
Wasn't her first one? I was trying to figure out what it was because I don't think it was her first one, so obviously it's not gonna look the best. But it looked like a crumpled piece of paper, but then it also looked like a frog.
I thought it was a frog.
Okay, so then it was probably a frog because I'm like, good job.
It also made me want to create, like, someone out there who, if you listen to this podcast and you're a scientist working with AI, you should create an AI robot that literally just does origami.
All right.
Just because later in the film, you, like, look at some of them, and one of them was, like, this ginormous paper dragon.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's sick.
That was
if
pretty awesome.
AI could do that in a movie, imagine if it could do it in real life. Because they have, like, weird AI robots for other junk. So why not just create one to just fold paper?
That's fair. That is actually pretty fair.
You make a lot of money on that. I'm sure there are people who would be
could.
like, yeah, check out the decorations my robot made for me.
It's just like a paper origami Godzilla or something like.
I think it'd be cool if it was not just a thing that made it for you, but it you could slow down the process so that you could follow along.
That's a good idea.
Like an interactive video.
Yeah.
Like if it was, you know how like you can watch YouTube videos about origami and you have to pause it and fold the paper the exact way. If they just had a robot that just slowly, meticulously showed you how to do it, that would be so cool.
And then you could just tell it to rewind and show you that part, like redo that fold or blah blah blah. Or like what am I missing? Oh, you're not putting your thumb right here, and they talk like that.
Sure.
We better put a patent pending.
I wouldn't want a male voice. I wouldn't want it to sound like that. I'd want it to be like, "Let's go, let's play, let's origami."
I definitely wouldn't want mine to sound like that.
Just like a little kid who's having fun.
Yeah, maybe I want mine to sound like Scooby Doo. I bet you could pay for those add-ons for voices.
We're constructing a legitimate business here.
Yeah.
Take notes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. So I'm putting a patent on this, and then you're gonna have to. Someone's gonna buy the rights to do this, and then that's how we'll make money.
But I mean, this is how AI technology is going.
True. Yeah.
So,
you know.
We can literally teach it to do whatever.
And it will teach us to do half of whatever.
Yeah. If there's something you really want to try, AI.
Yeah. I was just thinking. Oh wait. AI would rhyme with that. What a good slogan. Like AI. I was like, yeah.
And then I did it.
Yeah. AI. This is probably gonna be the most unhinged one. I also okay.
It was really neat. Like thinking back on it, I was watching the movie and I was kind of a little bored because there's not a whole lot that happens in this movie. But at the same time, like I was like, you know, this is really neat. Like scientifically, if you look at it from that perspective, it's a really neat kind of thing to look at.
That's what's called negative space. I later in that article that I talked about this negative space, and yeah, this movie doesn't really tell a lot. It shows a lot though, because there was a review on it too that said, like this isn't an awesome. Like, there's not a lot in the movie, so it's not, like, super awesome, but it's also not a terrible movie. Like, this is a pretty decent movie that I would watch again. And I was like, oh, like, or someone said, like, it was a good use of my 2 hours, you know? Like, it wasn't, I don't feel like I wasted 2 hours. It was really good. So
it didn't really even feel like 2 hours.
No, it didn't. I felt like it was 40 minutes, really. But yeah, it had a lot to show, and it had a lot of interpretation for the good, and a lot of key concepts to kind of think about.
I'll tell you what though, it
yeah.
was like I was trying to like guess the genre part the way through it.
Yeah.
Because when some of the alarms go off and you just hear a chunk, chunk,
Oh,
chunk,
yeah.
chunk, 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 and I'm like,
I was getting scared. I was like,
and then the moments where the daughter was just like hiding with the flashlight, I was like, oh no, is this turning into a horror movie?
right, yeah, I didn't know. I think I've watched too many bad, or not bad, like terrible, but bad, like scary AI movies where it's like, I don't know, she goes like Terminator on everyone. When the mother's running though, I always got distracted because when you see a front view of her running, you know how she has the big circle, her lens or whatnot?
Yeah.
I don't know what these two dots are that continuously move, but when she's running, they go boom, 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 back and forth. Like, they go in and out, in and out.
I think that they're supposed to replicate a mouth. Because, like, when she sounds excited, like, they move like this.
That makes so much more sense. So when she's running, they're, like, slapping close together, and then they spread all the way. So she's like, ooh, hee, ooh, hee.
That's like her jowls going.
I
I didn't mean to clap, but...
No, I can only imagine it. Like, you know that one, I think it's SpongeBob's granny, or maybe it's a really old fish that has, like, the squished face, and it's, like, the saggiest face. I'm thinking about that, like...
Just slapping as he runs.
Yeah, jeez. Did you ever get a chance to look at the exam questions that daughter is being asked?
A couple of them.
They didn't show a lot, but because I was wondering what type of exams, because obviously she was being taught how to do procedures, and she was doing robotic engineering, and then there's moral questions for doctors, but then I looked at the exam question, and one of them was like, do you ever have a fear about talking about something to anyone? She said true to all of them, but it's like, have you ever felt scared, or like,
Have you ever known like, one of them was along the lines of, have you ever known something and not wanted to talk about it?
Right, I think that's the one I was trying to say, yeah. I think they only literally showed 3 or 4 of them, and I'm like,
yeah.
Wait, how are these exam questions? Like, these...
I think that they're a way to
For the mother...
show the computer what the human mind is processing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was interesting because it was after she had discovered the woman and done all the stuff with the woman.
Right.
That she had taken this exam. And so her answers might have been very different if the woman wasn't a part of the equation.
But I think it was purposeful. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking, well, maybe, kind of. Like, maybe it wasn't meant for it yet. But, like, I don't know. I feel like the mother... Because it never solved... I mean, sure, they might have said the android shot her. But, like, I don't know why she would have went all the way to this facility. You know, why would this woman, who's always been very careful about...
Maybe she was exploring the corn.
Yeah. Well, she's been in those fields because she lied, actually, because she lied about the mine. She left there a few years ago, but she was talking about her and Jason or whatever got separated in the field. Like, she told this big intricate lie, which I get it. But, like, and she said she thought this thing was abandoned. But then why would you be knocking on it if you're so careful about where your surroundings are and where everything is? Like, why would you... So, and that's what... I was like, okay, maybe she is an experiment. Maybe she was, like, told to go knock on that building and we wouldn't kill you. Like, I really don't know. And there's so much to just think about of, like, wow. Like, believing the ends and trying to, like, figure out what the heck was going on. I also thought the embryos were a little funny in the thingy because they looked like little collector cards. So...
Baby number 1's special ability is growing in less than 23 hours.
Yeah. Oh man, I was like, maybe because I wondered how they was gonna before I put it in the circle thing. I was like, man, do you just throw them and it breaks open like a Pokeball and then they go? Ah!
I love that she like gave her the little claw as a gift, and I saw that thing and I was like, oh cool, she gave her a handicap grabber. Like
yeah.
One of those like little toys
Yeah.
that like extends and it's like it looks like one of those cross ladders
Yeah.
The ones
the
that go.
extended. Yeah. And I love how she didn't say anything too until the
She was
daughter's
just
like, and what do I do with this? Boy, yeah. My gosh. Did you have any other favorite part?
I liked her going into the ocean.
Oh yeah.
Because one of my favorite things when it comes to acting, there's two moments in movies where I've seen this movie and in a different movie, where a person is experiencing the ocean for the first time, and they're just in awe at how vast and crazy and all this stuff it is.
Mm-hmm. I also loved when she was pushed onto the ground by the woman because she was.
I didn't love that.
No, listen, just wait. No, hear me through.
I'm kidding.
When she went to attack the woman, and the woman pushed her down, and like, are you done? She's like, yeah, and then she's like, feeling the sand or the rubble or whatnot, and like she's feeling it in her hands, and she's like, wow, this is what like other material feels like. That's the part I like, not the abuse,
That makes me wonder if perhaps they just burned the earth. Because when sand gets burned, it's crystallized like that.
Yeah, that's really what I'm thinking, and I think I literally don't remember the beach that they were on. Was it actually beach sand, or was it still all that black?
I think it was beach sand.
Okay.
Because
it might have just been wet, or I don't know.
I think all the black was.
Were those trees? They look like trees.
Yeah, they were. I think they were trees.
Yeah, burnt.
Yeah. Because that's kind of just what it looks like. And then, of course, like, what a lot of people don't know is that ash is actually really good for vegetation, which is probably why the corn was growing so well. And so...
It's all part of the plan.
And then part of the reason why I believe it was the ocean is because of the shipwreck that was there. Because those ships, they don't really come on land. Like, it's very rare that they're brought onto land. Most of the time when they're on land, like, this is a freighter kind of ship. The only time they'd ever be brought on land is if they were having repairs done to them. So I would be like, well, it's like a beached whale. You're not going to find a beached whale in the middle of Wisconsin.
I know. I was trying to think of, like, man, something really toppled that over, and I don't know if, like, tsunami, if the robots did something, if they carried it, like, I don't know. It was just so cool to see all these disheveled containers.
It kind of looked like it was broken in half.
I think it was, yeah, Titanic style.
Except for robot broken in half. No.
Yeah. I also like seeing the glimpse of, like, the mainframe, I can't say really robotic city, because it's literally, as far as we know, only Mother, who's the only, like, artificial intelligence here. Like, it's all her. She is the god, she is the mother. But you got to see, like, maybe it was even the power unit or whatnot, like the motherboard or whatnot. I like that we got to see a glimpse of that, and I like the addition of there being fog. Yeah, I liked, even though it's so minute and not much is being told, there's a lot being shown, like I was saying. And I think that's really cool. Did you have a favorite character?
Daughter.
Me too. I
didn't think, like, I thought Mother was cool, but then at the same time I was like, eh. And then Woman was just a horrible liar and I didn't like her.
Women. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I was going to also put the Mother, because I liked qualities of her, but then I also really like the daughter, because she's showing to be a powerful young woman. She's discovering and processing the reality of the world. She's making quick-witted decisions. She's stepping up to the plate. I think I read somewhere that people will say this movie is like a young adult film to show that coming to age kind of thing, because it kind of is, like you're being... When you're growing up and you're not on your own yet, you're under the safety net of your parents, like the daughter is of the mother, going to the mother for guidance and whatnot, and then, the parents have to push you out of the nest sometime, you gotta go out on your own, make your own decisions, think for yourself, yada, 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 and she was doing that, which was awesome. And, yeah, I think this movie, especially with, usually, there's no statistic to back this up, but usually when you're in that high school stage, your brain's preoccupied with classes, college, blah, 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 that a super interactive movie might just distract you from what you're focusing on. And this one's bland enough that you can embrace it while focusing on your stresses and whatnot, and it could probably feed through a little bit better than just like, oh, let me forget about my troubles and watch this really intricate movie about space or something. But yeah, it would have been funny if one of us said that the brother was our favorite character.
He was pretty cute.
He was, yeah. He was in the coolest running. He did nothing wrong. Speaking of that, I think it was fine that, because the mother prompted that cylinder to open, and probably the APX ones were for experimentations. But it was just so weird for it. I don't like, because my OCD brain's like, no, finish off one cylinder at a time, don't take from random ones. I also noticed, like, this movie, besides the brother and what was mentioned from the woman in her drawings, there's, like, no male figures in this one. And I think, too, that the mother was primarily doing her experiments on women, because the 3 vials that were not there were all from the female cylinder. So that was pretty interesting that she was testing it on that, probably to try to make like a replica of her intentions of a nurturing person or whatnot. So I thought that was interesting too.
Hence the teenager with a nursing degree.
Yeah. What did you hate about the movie?
Some of the hated choices I made, I wrote down. I thought that it was dumb that the woman was skeptical of the daughter. Because even if you're, like, humans just, I don't know why, but there's a way that we're able to kind of just tell. I don't know if this is you or if whatever, if anybody else feels the same way, but I feel like there are certain tells that a person has, even if you don't know them at all, to indicate whether or not they're lying. And I just thought it was kind of dumb that the lady was like, I know you're in on it because obviously you dragged me in here because you let me in. You promised to try and help me, but you brought me here so that machine could kill me. And I was like, are you kidding me, woman? This lady has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. And man, that woman, like I was saying, she's all freaky because, she lied her whole story. Don't know what there was to save. And then again, why was she over there if it was like a couple hours away from her base and she was quote unquote getting food? I saw her freight cart. It had a lot of food in there. Made no sense. That's why.
Everything she said was a lie.
Yeah.
And I was like, seriously, if you're going to lie to a teenager, you might as well make it something that's not so obvious.
Right.
Like, I feel like if I was the daughter, I would probably question where we were going when we got to
the ocean.
A cornfield.
Well,
I'd be like, where's the mine?
Yeah, well, they had to go through the cornfield. She talked about going through the fields. They got separated. I didn't think she meant a cornfield.
Like, right as soon as you get to the shipping container, you'd be like, this isn't a mine.
Right.
And yeah. I think that was what the daughter said, too. She was like, so where's the mines? She was like, I abandoned them, like, years ago. And she's like, then why did I follow you?
Yeah, like, what? Like, what is this? And, like, literally she didn't even care, too, because, like, what was her point of taking the daughter? Sure, to maybe ensure that she gets out safety, like a long con or whatnot, but, like, I just don't understand, like, why would you take her all the way out there? Like, are you wanting her to take care? Like, she talks about the people in the mines went crazy and did weird things. I think she went crazy, too, and did weird things. I bet she killed them.
Why lie? I just don't understand why lie about the mines if there isn't something more going on.
I think maybe it might have been security, because if, her fear is that the droids are hunting down humans, okay? If she says, I know where more humans are. They're like, oh, we want to keep you alive to show us where the mines are. And if she mines, I say mines. And then, she knows that, oh my gosh.
I'm miming.
He's trapped in a box. She knows that the robot probably thinks that the daughter would make the woman feel more trusted. So the woman's playing the long con of like, yeah, I'll tell her all about these people that are quote unquote still alive, and then I'll give you this piece of paper of this boy that's about your age. And then the girl is like, oh, people. So then she's gonna be like, I want to see more people.
I want to be where the people
are. Dead. No. So I think it was like a long con of security, but boy, it threw me for a loop. You want to know the part that I hated?
What?
Where did the dog go when the woman came back to the freight?
What? It was right there.
No, it wasn't.
What do you mean?
It wasn't there. By the log, it was not there.
Well, yeah, it wandered off just to like look around the shipping containers. Because when she started walking back towards the freight, you could see the dog coming back to her.
No.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I will pull it up and show you.
Okay. Well, here's this is a 3-part process. Just pretend like the first part was right. Where did the dog go? It disappeared, right? How did the dog survive this? Dogs are loud. That dog was barking. How, in what way is she just letting that dog survive? How did the dog not potty in the crate? And then why was the dog necessary? Why was this here?
Companionship.
In a place where they've torched everything, how and a dog survives?
I mean, their goal wasn't to kill all creatures. It was to kill humans.
Fair, I guess. But I thought
assuming that the dog.
the dog's a new character too. That's another character, but it was boy dog too.
It's so funny to me that you thought the dog was just gone.
I thought it was when she ran. I was like, maybe it's following her, and I didn't see dog.
I did think, where's the dog?
I was like,
because
why?
I thought that the daughter brought him back with her, and I was like, well, that wouldn't make very much sense if she left the origami dog there. And then I saw the dog walking towards the woman, and I was like, oh, the dog's still there.
I didn't see that. I was like, where's the dog? I was typing furiously on my laptop. I'm like, why do we even have a dog here? This adds nothing. Because then that makes me think the woman's compassionate, but then she's not compassionate. Rah! Rage typing. This means that I would choose to remove all the parts about the dog.
And in your what would you change thing?
Yeah.
For me, actually, you explain and then I'll tell you mine.
Because I thought the dog was pointless.
Oh.
That's just it.
My thing that I would change, it has to have a little bit more explanation.
Okay.
So, Mother is a super high-tech computer, right? Mm-hmm. The smartest AI ever.
Mm-hmm.
Controlled all these monstrous droids, and then sick them on humans.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to understand humans.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the one thing I would change, and then goes, would you like to hold your brother? After daughter gets back. I was like, are you serious? The smartest computer on the planet is like, here, dirty kid, hold your brother who's a newborn.
I was thinking about that. I was like, is she going to ask
stupid.
her to wash her hands because she's so worried about, outside?
In my brain, I was like, she's going to tell her to go shower first.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, here. And I was like, what? What? Wants to support humanity? What?
Right? I had that same thought, and I didn't even write it down. But yeah, no, I was like, you're not going to ask her to wash your hands? You're not even going to...
And she was like, you're the cutest little thing ever. And I'm like, dude, your hands are the most disgusting things right now.
Oh, yeah, to be fair, that was the stupidest thing. Maybe she was... quote unquote, maybe she was testing to see if she would be responsible enough to be like, I need to wash my hands first. I need to put on a hazmat suit. I don't know. Stupid. So that part was actually...
Yeah, that was like, I was like, really?
Come on,
An entire 2-hour movie about a super high-tech robot that's supposed to be motherly, and the first thing it does is hands this newborn to a dirty person.
You just gotta build those antibodies in the baby, make them strong.
It's exactly what the world needs, I guess.
Well, did you like the movie overall?
Yeah, overall it was a good film.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it like a medium rating though.
Man.
Or maybe like somewhere between a medium and a large.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, I would probably watch it again, but at the same time, it's not one that I would like go back to.
I probably wouldn't recently, and I say this for all the movies, I would never recently watch a movie again. But I love this movie. It's now one of my favorites, actually, like my top insert number list. Mainly for the post-apocalyptic vibe, but I like that it kept me thinking about beyond what's being told. And, thus, I'm getting a bottomless tub for this one. Because, yeah, going off of that negative space feeling it just leaves so much of that negative space to make you want to know more and to want to search for that and think about the what ifs, not to actually get answers, but just to keep that part of my brain thinking.
I really appreciated this film, but also at the same time I was like, so there's still a lot of things that don't make sense, and I think that it was one of those times where it was made where AI was just barely scratching the surface, because 2019 COVID happened, and then a lot of people were able to spend time inside, and then I'm sure there were people who were like, well, I'm bored, I'm just going to develop an AI friend.
Yeah.
And then that's what started what AI is now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, I get that.
That made me think about it too, because of isolation. This movie had to do with isolation and wanting the need to go outside, there being, contagions outside. It's pretty spot on too to relate to that, going through COVID and whatnot. So that's kind of cool, a little bit, I guess, for that connection.
Well, with that, thank you so much for joining us in this podcast. That also wraps up our AI month, which is super phenomenal. And we decided the next month, and maybe the month after too, we haven't decided this one yet, we're going to be doing movies starring Ryan Reynolds.
Wow, wow, wow!
The man with the plan who's also Deadpool.
Yeah.
But we're not going to start with Deadpool. Or maybe not even watch Deadpool.
Maybe not.
But we are definitely maybe going to watch Definitely Maybe for the next one. All that I know about it is that it's a rom-com and it's super cute. And so look forward to that, because Ryan Reynolds is really funny, and Definitely Maybe is probably going to be a banger. I don't know.
Definitely maybe going to be a banger.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening and watching and doing whatever.
Catch you next time.
Bye.